When German Field Marshal Wilhelm Keitel signed the Instrument of Unconditional Surrender in Berlin on May 8, 1945, he carried with him a question that had haunted the German High Command for nearly 3 years. It wasn't about Allied air superiority or industrial capacity. It wasn't about the Eastern Front or D-Day. The question was simpler and more disturbing. How had America kept so many soldiers alive? The answer would reveal a medical logistics system so vast that even today it seems almost impossible. A network of moving hospitals that transported the equivalent of entire city populations across a continent, providing surgical care at speeds that defied every assumption about battlefield medicine. Before we jump back in, tell us where you're tuning in from, and if this story touches you, make sure you're subscribed, because tomorrow I've saved something extra special for you. This is the verified account of America's hospital train system during World War II, a medical achievement that German military planners studied with growing disbelief as intelligence reports filtered back from captured documents and interrogated officers. What they discovered challenged everything they understood about the limits of wartime medicine. The German Wehrmacht had always prided itself on efficiency. Their military medical system, developed through decades of Prussian precision, was considered among the most advanced in Europe during the early war years. German hospital trains existed, certainly. They had used them effectively during the invasion of Poland and France, evacuating wounded soldiers from field hospitals to rear area facilities. By 1943, Germany operated approximately 300 hospital trains of varying sizes. This seemed adequate. The trains typically carried between 200 and 400 patients, depending on the severity of injuries. German medical officers calculated this capacity against expected casualty rates and deemed it sufficient for sustained operations. Then the intelligence began arriving from the Western Front. The first reports seemed impossible. American hospital trains weren't transporting hundreds of wounded, they were moving thousands. A single American hospital train could carry up to 750 patients in specialized cars designed specifically for medical transport. The German officers reviewing these reports assumed translation errors or exaggeration by field observers prone to overstating enemy capabilities. The numbers simply didn't make sense within their framework of medical logistics. Colonel Heinrich Foreman, serving with the Wehrmacht Medical Corps in France during 1944, personally observed an American hospital train during a brief period before his capture, near St. Lo. His detailed report, later found in captured documents, described his confusion. The train stretched for what seemed like a quarter mile. Car after car bore the distinctive red cross marking. He counted 42 cars before American troops forced his observation team to withdraw. 42 cars. His entire experience with German hospital trains suggested 15 to 20 cars maximum. This single train exceeded the capacity of 3 German hospital trains combined. The mathematics became even more troubling when German intelligence officers began calculating total American capacity. Initial estimates suggested America might operate several hundred hospital trains. This alone would represent a significant advantage. But as more intelligence accumulated from multiple sources, including reconnaissance photographs, captured railway scheduling documents, and testimony from German officers who had been transferred through American-controlled territories, the numbers grew impossibly large. By late 1944, German High Command possessed credible intelligence suggesting America operated not hundreds but thousands of hospital trains. The exact number remained unclear, shrouded in the fog of war and deliberate American operational security. Some reports suggested 3,000 trains, others indicated even higher numbers. The German officers compiling these assessments faced a mathematical problem that seemed to defy solution. If America truly operated thousands of hospital trains, each capable of transporting hundreds of patients, the total capacity would exceed anything previously seen in military history. German military doctrine emphasized Auftragstaktik, mission-type tactics that granted subordinate commanders significant autonomy. This doctrine extended to medical operations. Wounded soldiers received initial treatment at forward aid stations, then moved to field hospitals, and finally to rear area hospitals based on severity of injuries and available transport. The system worked efficiently within German operational parameters. German hospital trains served as one component of this evacuation chain, moving severely wounded soldiers from field hospitals to major medical centers in Germany itself. The limiting factor had always been transport capacity. Germany possessed extensive railway networks, certainly, but hospital trains competed with ammunition trains, supply trains, troop transport trains, and civilian traffic for limited track space. Adding more hospital trains meant reducing other critical transport. German planners had calculated an optimal balance. 300 hospital trains represented that balance, enough capacity to handle expected casualties without overwhelming the railway system. American medical logistics operated on completely different assumptions. This became clear as German intelligence officers pieced together the American system from captured documents and interrogations. America hadn't calculated an optimal balance between medical transport and other railway needs. America had simply built enough hospital trains to transport every wounded soldier who needed evacuation, then built more to ensure redundancy. The concept of limiting medical transport to preserve railway capacity for other purposes seemed absent from American planning. This philosophical difference produced staggering numerical disparities. German intelligence estimates by early 1945 suggested America operated approximately 4,000 hospital trains in the European theater alone. 4,000! The number seemed fantastic, absurd. Yet multiple independent sources confirmed similar figures. Reconnaissance flights photographed massive railway yards filled with hospital trains awaiting deployment. Captured railway scheduling documents referenced hospital train movements numbering in the hundreds per day. German officers who had witnessed American operations firsthand, men whose reliability was unquestioned, reported seeing hospital trains so frequently they became routine background elements of the American military landscape. The bed capacity calculations proved even more astounding. German intelligence officers working with captured American medical planning documents calculated that if America truly operated 4,000 hospital trains with average capacity of 750 beds per train, the total mobile bed capacity exceeded 3 million. 3 million beds on wheels. The number defied comprehension. Germany's entire medical system, including all fixed hospitals, field hospitals, and hospital trains combined, provided approximately 1 million beds total. America had created a mobile medical system with 3 times Germany's total medical capacity. Even accounting for potential intelligence errors or propaganda inflation, the conservative estimates remained staggering. If the actual number was half the reported figure, America still operated 2,000 hospital trains with 1.5 million beds. If it was a quarter, 1,000 trains with 750,000 beds. Every calculation, no matter how conservative, revealed American medical capacity that dwarfed German capabilities. The psychological impact on German commanders went beyond mere numbers. The existence of such vast medical resources implied something more fundamental about American military philosophy and industrial capacity. Germany had waged total war, mobilizing every resource toward military victory. Yet America, fighting simultaneously in Europe and the Pacific, had somehow produced medical transport capacity that exceeded Germany's wildest projections. What did this say about American industrial power? If America could build 4,000 hospital trains while also producing ships, aircraft, tanks, and ammunition in quantities that already overwhelmed German production, what were the true limits of American capacity? General Alfred Jodl, chief of the operations staff of the Wehrmacht, reportedly reviewed intelligence summaries about American hospital trains in December 1944. His response, recorded by his aide, reflected the growing despair among German high command. The hospital trains alone told him everything he needed to know about the war's inevitable outcome. A nation that could dedicate such resources to saving lives while simultaneously prosecuting a two-front war possessed depths of industrial capacity that Germany could never match. The hospital trains represented something beyond medical logistics. They symbolized American abundance in a war increasingly defined by German scarcity. By 1944, Germany struggled to maintain existing hospital trains as Allied bombing destroyed manufacturing facilities and disrupted supply chains.
Preparing and narrating this story took us a lot of time, so if you are enjoying it, subscribe to our channel. It means a lot to us. Now back to the story.
Spare parts became impossible to obtain. Railway cars designed for medical transport were pressed into ammunition service. The German medical evacuation system, once efficient and effective, gradually deteriorated under the pressure of total war. Meanwhile, intelligence reports showed America not merely maintaining its hospital train fleet, but expanding it. New trains entered service even as the war approached its conclusion. The Americans seemed to possess unlimited capacity for production and deployment of medical resources. For German commanders, accustomed to calculating every decision based on resource scarcity, this abundance seemed almost obscene. The hospital trains also revealed American priorities that baffled German military thinking. Germany had always maintained clear hierarchies in military resource allocation. Combat units received priority for equipment, supply, and transport. Support services, including medical services, received what remained after combat needs were satisfied. This seemed logical. Wars were won by combat power, not medical capacity. Yet America appeared to invert this logic, dedicating enormous resources to medical transport that could have been used for ammunition or troop movements. German officers debated this apparent inefficiency extensively. Some argued it reflected American softness, an unwillingness to accept necessary casualties in pursuit of victory. Others suggested it revealed American naivete about war's fundamental nature. A few perceptive officers recognized it as a different form of military efficiency. Soldiers who knew they would receive immediate, high-quality medical care fought with greater confidence and determination. Units that saw wounded comrades evacuated quickly maintained higher morale. The hospital trains represented an investment in fighting power that operated through psychological rather than purely material channels. The intelligence reports included technical details that fascinated German medical officers. American hospital trains weren't merely converted passenger cars with beds installed. They were purpose-built medical facilities on wheels, designed with the same attention to detail as fixed hospitals. Each train included specialized cars for different medical functions. Surgical cars contained full operating theaters, capable of performing complex procedures while the train moved. Ward cars provided climate-controlled environments for recovering patients. Pharmacy cars stocked medications in quantities that exceeded many German field hospitals. Kitchen cars prepared specialized diets for patients with specific medical needs. Staff cars housed doctors, nurses, and medical technicians who lived aboard the trains for weeks at a time. The sophistication of these mobile hospitals impressed even skeptical German observers. Creating a functional surgical theater in a railway car required solving enormous engineering challenges. Vibration from train movement could disrupt delicate procedures. Temperature fluctuations could compromise sterile conditions. Power supply irregularities could interrupt life-saving equipment. American engineers had apparently solved all these problems, producing railway cars where surgeons could perform amputations, remove shrapnel, and repair damaged organs while traveling at 50 miles per hour. German hospital trains, by comparison, provided basic care and stabilization. Serious surgical procedures waited until patients reached fixed hospitals. The idea of performing major surgery aboard a moving train seemed reckless. Yet American medical reports, some captured during the rapid advance through France, documented thousands of successful surgical procedures performed aboard hospital trains. The Americans had apparently turned railway cars into fully functional hospitals that happened to move. The scale of American hospital train operations became fully apparent through captured railway coordination documents discovered near Reims in March 1945. These documents, part of a larger cache of American logistical planning materials, provided German intelligence analysts with their first comprehensive view of the system's actual scope. The coordination required to operate thousands of hospital trains simultaneously across multiple theaters of operation revealed organizational capabilities that seemed almost superhuman in their complexity. Each hospital train required precise scheduling to avoid conflicts with combat supply trains, troop transports, and civilian traffic on shared railway lines. The captured documents showed American railway coordinators managing movements of more than 800 hospital trains daily across France, Belgium, and Western Germany alone.
800 trains per day. Each train required specific routing based on patient loads, destination hospitals, and available track capacity. The coordination involved real-time communication between dozens of railway control centers, constant updates on track conditions and enemy activity, and split-second decisions to reroute trains around damaged infrastructure or congested junctions. German railway operations, considered highly efficient by European standards, managed perhaps 50 to 75 hospital train movements daily at peak operations. The Americans were coordinating more than 10 times that volume. The mathematical and organizational challenges seemed insurmountable. Yet, the captured documents showed a system operating with remarkable smoothness. Trains departing and arriving within minutes of scheduled times, patients flowing from battlefield to rear area hospitals with minimal delay. The staffing requirements alone boggled German calculations. Each American hospital train carried a full medical staff, including surgeons, physicians, nurses, orderlies, and medical technicians. A typical train required approximately 70 medical personnel plus another 30 railway staff for operation and maintenance. If America truly operated 4,000 hospital trains, the total personnel requirement exceeded 400,000 medical and railway workers dedicated solely to hospital train operations. 400,000 people committed to a single function within the larger medical system. Germany's entire medical corps, including all doctors, nurses, and support staff across all services and facilities, numbered approximately 300,000 personnel by 1944. America had apparently dedicated more people to operating hospital trains than Germany possessed in its entire medical establishment. The implications staggered German military planners. Where had America found so many trained medical personnel? How had they trained them? What did this say about American population reserves and educational capacity? The answer, pieced together from multiple intelligence sources, revealed another dimension of American advantage. America had mobilized its civilian medical establishment on an unprecedented scale. Doctors who had run private practices in peacetime now served aboard hospital trains. Nurses who had worked in civilian hospitals now traveled the railways of Europe. Medical schools had accelerated their training programs, graduating physicians in 2 years instead of 4. Nursing schools had expanded enrollment dramatically, recruiting women who would never have considered medical careers in peacetime. This mobilization of civilian medical resources reflected a fundamental difference in how America prosecuted war. Germany had always maintained clear distinctions between military and civilian spheres, even during total war. Military medicine remained largely separate from civilian healthcare. Doctors served either in military or civilian capacities, but rarely both. Resources flowed to military needs while civilian medicine made do with what remained. America had apparently dissolved these boundaries entirely. The hospital trains were staffed by a mixture of career military medical personnel and civilian doctors and nurses who had volunteered or been drafted into military service. This integration of civilian and military medicine allowed America to scale up its medical capacity far beyond what a purely military system could achieve. The hospital trains represented not just American industrial capacity, but also American social mobilization on a scale Germany had never attempted. The technical specifications of American hospital trains revealed engineering sophistication that impressed even critical German observers. Captured maintenance manuals and design schematics showed railway cars built to exacting medical standards. Operating rooms featured specially designed suspension systems that dampened vibration and maintained stability during surgical procedures. Climate control systems maintained precise temperatures and humidity levels crucial for patient recovery. Water purification systems provided sterile water for surgical procedures and patient care. Electrical systems supplied reliable power for medical equipment, lighting, and climate control, even when trains operated far from established power grids. German hospital trains, by comparison, were relatively simple conversions of existing passenger or freight cars. Beds replaced seats. Basic heating provided minimal comfort. Medical equipment was portable and limited. The contrast reflected different approaches to military medical logistics. Germany had optimized for efficiency within resource constraints. America had optimized for medical capability regardless of cost or complexity. The hospital trains represented not just American industrial capacity, but also American social mobilization on a scale Germany had never attempted. The technical specifications of American hospital trains revealed engineering sophistication that impressed even critical German observers. Captured maintenance manuals and design schematics showed railway cars built to exacting medical standards. Operating rooms featured specially designed suspension systems that dampened vibration and maintained stability during surgical procedures. Climate control systems maintained precise temperatures and humidity levels crucial for patient recovery. Water purification systems provided sterile water for surgical procedures and patient care. Electrical systems supplied reliable power for medical equipment, lighting, and climate control, even when trains operated far from established power grids. German hospital trains, by comparison, were relatively simple conversions of existing passenger or freight cars. Beds replaced seats. Basic heating provided minimal comfort. Medical equipment was portable and limited. The contrast reflected different approaches to military medical logistics. Germany had optimized for efficiency within resource constraints. America had optimized for medical capability regardless of cost or complexity. The hospital trains represented not just American industrial capacity, but also American social mobilization on a scale Germany had never attempted. The pharmaceutical capacity of American hospital trains particularly astounded German medical officers. Each train carried pharmacies stocked with medications in quantities that exceeded many German-based hospitals. Morphine for pain management was available in seemingly unlimited quantities. Sulfa drugs for infection prevention were used liberally. Plasma for blood replacement was stored in specialized refrigeration units. By late 1944, some trains carried penicillin, the revolutionary antibiotic that German medicine lacked entirely. This pharmaceutical abundance reflected broader American medical supply advantages. Germany had struggled with medication shortages since 1943 as Allied bombing disrupted pharmaceutical production and supply chains. Morphine was carefully rationed. Sulfa drugs were reserved for the most serious infections. Blood plasma was often unavailable at forward medical facilities. German doctors made agonizing decisions about which patients received scarce medications. American doctors aboard hospital trains faced no such constraints. Medications were available in quantities sufficient to treat every patient according to optimal medical protocols. This abundance improved patient outcomes significantly. Infections that would have killed German soldiers were routinely cured with antibiotics. Pain that German soldiers endured was promptly relieved with adequate analgesics. Shock that proved fatal in German care was successfully treated with plasma transfusions. The dietary capabilities of American hospital trains revealed another dimension of medical sophistication. Each train included full kitchen facilities staffed by trained cooks who prepared meals tailored to patients' medical needs. Patients recovering from abdominal surgery received carefully designed soft foods. Patients with severe burns received high-protein diets to promote healing. Diabetic patients received precisely calculated carbohydrate portions. This nutritional care reflected American understanding that diet played a crucial role in recovery. German hospital trains provided basic food, typically whatever standard military rations were available. The concept of tailoring meals to individual medical needs seemed a luxury beyond available resources. Yet, American hospital trains treated specialized nutrition as a standard component of medical care. This attention to every aspect of recovery, from surgical technique to nutrition to psychological support, revealed a comprehensive approach to military medicine that exceeded German practice. The speed of American medical evacuation astonished German observers. Captured American medical planning documents indicated goals of evacuating wounded soldiers from battlefield to hospital trains within 6 hours of injury. 6 hours! This timeline seemed impossible given the chaos of combat operations. Yet multiple sources confirmed American achievement of this goal with surprising consistency. Forward aid stations provided immediate stabilization. Ambulances transported wounded to collecting points within hours. Hospital trains arrived at collecting points on precise schedules, loaded patients, and departed for rear-area hospitals. German medical evacuation, by comparison, often required days or even weeks for seriously wounded soldiers to reach proper hospital facilities. Forward medical units provided excellent emergency care, but evacuation to rear areas depended on available transport and tactical situation. Wounded soldiers sometimes remained at field hospitals for extended periods waiting for evacuation. This delay increased infection rates and reduced survival chances for seriously wounded men. American hospital trains eliminated these delays through sheer capacity and organizational efficiency. With thousands of trains in operation, one was always available near any sector of the front. Wounded soldiers moved from battlefield to surgical care aboard the trains within hours, then continued to specialized treatment facilities within days. This rapid evacuation improved survival rates dramatically. Wounds that would have proved fatal with delayed treatment were successfully managed through immediate intervention. The integration of American hospital trains with other medical facilities created a seamless evacuation chain unprecedented in military history.
Forward collecting points connected directly to hospital train schedules. Hospital trains coordinated with base hospitals to ensure receiving facilities had capacity for incoming patients. Base hospitals communicated patient status back to frontline medical units, closing the information loop. This systematic coordination ensured no wounded soldier fell through bureaucratic cracks. German medical evacuation operated more informally. Forward units evacuated patients when transport became available. Patients arrived at rear-area hospitals without advance notice. Receiving facilities sometimes lacked capacity for incoming wounded. Communication between echelons of medical care was sporadic and unreliable. The American system, by contrast, treated medical evacuation as a precisely choreographed operation requiring the same attention to detail as combat movements. The psychological impact of American hospital trains on German prisoners of war provided unexpected intelligence value. German soldiers captured on the Western Front often received medical care aboard American hospital trains before transfer to prisoner facilities. Their accounts, gathered through interrogations and monitored conversations, revealed the profound impression American medical capability made on men who expected rudimentary care as prisoners. One German officer, captured during the Battle of the Bulge with severe frostbite, later described his transport aboard an American hospital train in terms suggesting genuine bewilderment. The warmth, the cleanliness, the abundance of medical attention exceeded anything he had experienced in German military service. American doctors treated his frostbite aggressively, saving several toes he assumed would require amputation. Nurses checked on him hourly, providing medications and adjusting his care based on his progress. The food, while foreign to his palate, was nutritious and plentiful. This officer's experience was reportedly typical among German prisoners requiring medical care. American hospital trains treated enemy wounded with the same protocols and resources as American casualties. This equal treatment, mandated by Geneva Convention but often honored more in breach than observance, became standard practice in American military medicine. German prisoners observed this equal treatment with a mixture of gratitude and confusion.
Such care seemed inconsistent with Nazi propaganda about American brutality and racial hatred. The intelligence value of these prisoner accounts went beyond morale assessment. German High Command recognized that soldiers who knew capture meant good medical care might surrender more readily than those expecting mistreatment. This could accelerate German collapse as frontline units faced the choice between continued resistance and surrender. The hospital trains thus became not just medical assets, but psychological warfare tools that undermined German will to fight. The maintenance requirements for 4,000 hospital trains revealed yet another dimension of American logistical capability. Each train required regular servicing to maintain medical equipment, railway machinery, and living facilities. American maintenance depots across Europe and North Africa performed this work on rotating schedules, ensuring trains remained operational continuously. The captured documents showed maintenance operations of industrial scale, with dedicated facilities processing hundreds of trains monthly through inspection, repair, and resupply cycles. German railway maintenance, strained by years of war and Allied bombing, struggled to keep existing trains operational. Spare parts were scarce. Skilled technicians were diverted to combat engineering roles. Maintenance facilities were priority bombing targets. American maintenance operations, by contrast, seemed to operate without resource constraints. Spare parts arrived in abundance. Skilled technicians were available in whatever numbers needed. Maintenance facilities operated around the clock with full electrical power and complete tool inventories. This maintenance capability ensured American hospital trains remained reliable despite intensive use. German intelligence reports documented trains that had operated continuously for months without significant mechanical failure. This reliability was crucial for medical operations where mechanical breakdown could prove fatal for critical patients. American engineering had apparently created railway systems robust enough to function under combat conditions while maintaining the precision required for medical care. The communication systems aboard American hospital trains demonstrated technological advantages that extended beyond medical capability. Each train carried radio equipment allowing constant communication with railway control centers, medical command posts, and receiving hospitals. This real-time communication enabled dynamic routing decisions, immediate medical consultations with specialists at base hospitals, and coordination of patient transfers.
German hospital trains, by comparison, relied primarily on scheduled stops at telegraph stations for communication. American radio communication allowed hospital trains to function as mobile command posts for medical operations. Doctors aboard trains could consult with specialists hundreds of miles away about complex cases. Trains could reroute to different destinations based on patient needs and hospital capacity. Medical supplies could be requested and delivered at intermediate stops. This communication capability transformed hospital trains from simple transport vehicles into integral components of a networked medical system. The heating and cooling systems aboard American hospital trains revealed engineering solutions to problems German designers had considered unsolvable. Maintaining stable temperatures in railway cars moving through varying climates seemed impossible without consuming excessive fuel and power. American engineers had developed innovative systems using a combination of insulation, forced air circulation, and efficient heating units that maintained comfortable temperatures while conserving resources. Patients traveling from cold northern sectors to warmer southern regions experienced minimal temperature variation. German hospital trains struggled with temperature control throughout the war. Cars were either too cold or too hot depending on external conditions and heating availability. Patients suffered accordingly, their recovery complicated by environmental stress. American patients traveled in climate-controlled comfort that promoted healing and minimized complications. This seemingly minor advantage contributed to significantly better medical outcomes. The lighting aboard American hospital trains demonstrated attention to medical requirements that German designs had overlooked. Operating rooms featured specialized surgical lighting that allowed procedures in all conditions. Ward cars had adjustable lighting that could be dimmed for sleeping patients or brightened for examinations.
Reading lights allowed awake patients to occupy themselves during long journeys. Emergency lighting systems ensured continued operation during power failures. German hospital trains relied primarily on natural daylight, supplemented by basic electric or oil lamps. The sanitation systems aboard American hospital trains addressed one of the most challenging aspects of mobile medical care. Maintaining sterile conditions while transporting hundreds of patients through dust, mud, and combat debris required sophisticated waste management and water purification systems. American trains featured dedicated sanitation cars that processed waste and maintained water quality throughout journeys. These systems operated automatically, requiring minimal staff attention while ensuring medical-grade cleanliness. German hospital trains handled sanitation far more primitively. Waste was collected and disposed of at stops. Water quality depended on local sources at refilling points. Maintaining sterile conditions for surgery or wound care required extensive manual effort by medical staff. The American automated systems freed medical personnel to focus on patient care rather than environmental management. The record-keeping aboard American hospital trains revealed organizational sophistication that impressed German observers accustomed to simpler documentation systems. Each patient received detailed medical records documenting injuries, treatments provided, medications administered, and progress notes. These records traveled with patients through the evacuation chain, ensuring continuity of care. When patients transferred to base hospitals, receiving physicians had complete information about their cases. German medical record-keeping, while adequate, relied more heavily on verbal communication and simple written notes. Detailed records were often compiled retrospectively at base hospitals rather than created during forward treatment. This gap in documentation sometimes resulted in duplicated treatments, missed complications, or delayed care decisions. American systematic record-keeping eliminated these problems through comprehensive documentation from point of injury through final discharge. Up next, you've got two more standout stories right on your screen. If this one hit the mark, you won't want to pass these up. Just click and check them out.